Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fourth and Goal. We've got a lot of great stuff to show for you on today. We're going to be talking about the NFL. We're going to be talking about the NBA and all that action. But first, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Worthington Moore, and to my right, we have Andre. How are you doing on today?
I'm chilling. I'm good.
All right, and then the man that is below Andre, we got Mr. Drew Brewer. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. So first topic. So I think on the last time that we did this Fourth and Goal, I figured out just today that there is going to be a play-in tournament for the 7th and 8th seed on both conferences. So for the Eastern and Western Conference, seeds 7 through 10, they'll be going at it for the 7 and 8 seed. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you finish, 7 and 8, because for this year the NBA is trying to basically test to see, how it works out, because they're wanting to get more NBA playoff action. So as we are speaking right now, currently the Dallas Mavericks are number 7. The Memphis Grizzlies are number 8 in the Western Conference. The Warriors are number 9, and the Spurs rounded out at number 10. So out of all these teams, which one do you think is most dangerous?
I was most dangerous is a stretch of a word, but if we're just looking at how it is right now, the Mavericks, they're comfortable in the number 7 spot right now. The other teams, they going back and forth, losing stuff like that. Then the Warriors just lost yesterday, didn't they? Yesterday. So they're going back and forth. The Mavericks, like I said, they're comfortable, and don't they only have to win one game to be able to advance? So if I had to put my money on one team right now, how it looking, I would say the Mavericks.
Okay. What about you, Drew?
I mean, yeah, the Mavericks, that boy Luka, he's something different. That's a different breed right there. In terms of the Warriors, Steph's still trying to get them boys in shape, still trying to get them right. I mean, they could still, if they have a chance, they still have it. I mean, they're only down by one game when it comes to the Grizzlies. And so, but when it comes to both the Grizzlies and the Warriors, they're both down 2 games and considered to the Mavericks. So, I mean, the Mavericks right now is looking like the better decision, the better team that in this little tournament thing that will probably go on fourth. But at the same time, we don't know, because in the NBA and in sports leagues in general, everything changes, everything's new, everything's different. So the Mavericks is looking like the top runners to make that, but we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, and I'd say that one of the things is that this is definitely something that's new. We saw it last year in the COVID bubble, just due to how the teams are had to, because the NBA basically was stopped, whenever some certain teams, and it had to be sort of, the rest of their games had to be determined based off of, the strength of this remaining schedule and whatnot. So it's kind of just like, I think the NBA is just having this play-in tournament just to see experiment how the viewership is going to handle, if people actually want to see this going forward. And this is definitely going to be something interesting. And I don't necessarily know, as an NBA fan, if this is something that I would want to watch. I mean, it's like extra games are cool and fun and exciting, but it's also for the 7 and 8 seed. And usually, based on statistics, the 7 and 8 seed, they don't really do anything in terms of the playoffs. They maybe win one game, maybe win 2 games in a series, but they don't usually, dictate the actual course of, they don't really affect the NBA playoffs. If you're looking at 1 seed versus the 8 seed, there have only been 7 or 8 upsets by the 8 seed, and I don't know how many go for the 7 seed, but they don't generally play a huge impact into the actual NBA playoffs. So this is going to be interesting to see if this is something that the NBA is wanting to do moving forward, and this is actually going to because this is just something they're trying out to see if this is something that will be a main fixture in the NBA for years to come. So as an NBA fan, what are you guys thinking about this? Is this something that you would definitely want to see moving forward, or is this something that you're just it's not really my cup of tea?
I mean, well, I don't have an issue with it, but I'm in the middle. I'm like, eh. I mean, it could be cool, but I'm just kind of it's not needed for me personally. But I can't speak for everybody else, so I could live without it.
Yeah, I think that when you kind of just look at it, it's unnecessary. I mean, the two teams, I mean, they're going for the bottom. Now, if this is something that actually affected the course of the NBA, I mean, there's a reason it works better when we're talking about, I'd say, the NCAA tournament. So I think it was just a couple of years ago, or maybe 2 years ago, that Prairie View, they won the SWAC tournament, and then they advanced to first in or something like that, and they played against Farley Dixon for the actual number 16 seed for the opportunity to be included in the NCAA tournament. That works from the standpoint that they're playing, these one-off games for the chance to be even included. And even though it is rare that a 16 seed would beat a number 1 seed, it makes sense from that standpoint. But from the NBA's perspective, I only see it as something that is just used to make more money, and it's not really helping the fan overall. And I honestly, we'll just have to see if people are watching this, and if this is something that will be something that goes forward. But yeah. But with that being said, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back after this commercial. And we are back on 4th and Goal, as always, joined by Drew and Andre. So I'm just going to pick it back right here with this question right here. It's been an incredible year for Dak Prescott. He was injured taken out for the rest of the season, the 2020 season. And then this offseason, he got paid. I think he's now one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And, that kind of sets, you would think, Dallas up for the future. So my question is, do you think, with Dak being back in the saddle, hopefully he can get back to, what he was, with those first 5 games? Do you think that the Dallas Cowboys can win, the NFC East for this season?
I'm not a Dallas fan, so I don't know about all that. They stay talking like they gonna do something, but every year they just end up in the same boat. First round playoff drop. Yeah, I get to the second. I ain't won the championship since the 90s. So I don't know about all that, Jerry. I can't speak on that. I gotta leave that to the Dallas fans because honestly, I just feel like, Dak got hurt, and Dak was their best chance. And when everything he got hurt, they kind of went down. But even then, when they had damn near everybody, they had a stacked roster. They still couldn't get past the second round of the playoffs. You still got Philly. You still got the Redskins. No, not the Redskins. The Washington football team. That's tough. It's a tough little boat. I'm not even gonna lie. Every year they always struggling between them, the Giants, Eagles, and the Washington team. So we gonna see how it goes this year.
Yeah, Andre, I think that you've said before, maybe it was you, maybe it was Erica, but I think it was you. You said that you are a Dallas Cowboys fan, or at least that you're from Dallas. So what is your take on this?
Yeah. No. I'm from Dallas. I never said I was a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh, okay.
I think us from Dallas, we're realistic with how the Cowboys is going to be. We know what we're going to get. Well, as how the team's been for the past couple of things. We may be excited. We cheer them on. We're going to want them to make it to the end. But we know at the end of the day, even if they get forward, they probably going to choke. Now, in terms of this talk about winning the NFC East, I feel like that statement is really mostly loaded in the fact that Dak Prescott is coming back. But again, which is the same thing, what we always talk about, even not just football, basketball, and stuff like that, you can't rely on one person to do everything. You still got to see what your offense and defense talk about. Now, I'm not going to name no names, but we still got people on the Cowboys who don't know how to keep a ball in their hand. Again, not naming no names. Then their defense, I feel like they play too soft. Their defense is a little weak. So at the end of the day, if both sides, if that's the only person, again, that we trying to rally behind to make them win, I don't think that's something that we should use them to make them just because he's back that they're going to win. Now, and that's assuming that he's going to be back 100% after his injury. So,
yeah, good points from both of you guys. I think that, there was a time, I think that it was halfway, the halfway point of the NFL season, and I'm looking at, the standings, and I'm pretty sure that, the NFC East, basically, the number one team or the team that was leading over it after 8 games, had been played, or after week 8, the team that was atop the division, I don't know which one it was. It doesn't matter. Washington football team, was NFC East divisional winner last year, but during that midpoint, it was the team's record that was top there was 3-4-1. If you play it out the rest of the season, that is a 6. That's basically a losing record. I was actually hoping for a little while that we could see something like the Seattle Seahawks. I believe that the Seattle Seahawks, they went into the playoffs with a losing record. I believe that they're the only team to basically go into the playoffs with the losing record. I was hoping to see something like that, and you kind of saw like down the stretch that Washington, Dallas, the Eagles, the Giants, everyone actually had a chance. The thing about it was that everyone in that division was so bad that it was kind of like 3 weeks until the end. The Giants, who were maybe had 2 wins, 12 losses or something like that, they actually had a chance. That's sad. because you want to see the best out of every single team that is involved. You don't want to see teams with losing records, get in ahead of, teams, with a far better record, because I believe that that there was at least in the NFC, which is always which is a far more, I believe, far more competitive division than the AFC. You kind of, it really hurts to see, a team like, even though the Washington football team finished out strong, it kind of hurts to see a team like that, who has had a wishy-washy season, get in ahead of, better teams with, better records, just because they won the division. And that was a real, conversation. Should the division winner really, get an automatic bid to the playoffs if they suck? And that was a real thing. So I don't know if it's like anything could happen. With Dak Prescott, you always have a chance, but with that defense, you don't have a chance. So we'll definitely see. So I kind of want to switch the conversation to, if not Dallas winning the NFC East, who do you see winning the NFC East?
Redskins, either the Washington or the Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it depends. If the Eagles start Jalen Hurts, then I say the Eagles. If the Eagles don't start him, it's either gonna be the Giants or the Washington.
Okay. What about you?
I probably have to go with with Washington. I'm not gonna lie, but then again, what do I know?
Okay, interesting picks. I just want you guys to know this is an interesting factoid. I believe that in so the NFC East, no team has won that division 2 times in a row. I believe it's like something like in the past 14, 15 seasons. So each and every single year, it's been a different team that has won the division. So if the Washington football team is able to win the division again, they'll be the first in quite a long time. But with that, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we will be back with hot takes. Stick around.
Even though there is so much against us,
you will see me choose to protect myself and my community from the coronavirus by wearing a face covering.
Because it's going to take all of us thinking about one another.
And even with my face covered, you will see me.
You will see me as a mother, a wife, a friend.
As an athlete who gave everything to the game I love.
As a father, leading by example.
As a sister.
An entertainer.
As a champion for my people.
You will see me finding a light in a dark time.
To unlock our creativity and push our craft.
You will see me demanding the space to tell the stories that matter.
As a man who knows that tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Join us in wearing a face covering to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because covering your face is one small act of kindness that has the power to bring us together.
Okay, and we're back on 4th and Goal, and we will be discussing this last topic of hot takes, where we discuss very interesting, opinionated topics that vary from week to week. Last week, we talked about the issue of technical fouls in the NBA. It might have gotten a little bit heated between Andre and Drew, but we're just going to try to keep it professional for this time. So the topic, or the question for this week is, should band members be considered athletes? And I think I will start with you, Drew, for this one.
Like, what do you mean should band members be considered athletes? Like people in the band?
Yes.
In general, or just
yeah. So what I mean by that is that sometimes it's been tossed around that people who are in the band who work extensively throughout the day, throughout the week, and just practicing and all these things that require extenuous, athletic, because it's very hard. You can't just go up to anyone and say, hey, can you play this instrument? also walking around. They put in multiple hours within a day perfecting their craft. So I just mean in terms of like, would you consider them an athlete in the same breath that you would consider, basketball player, a football player, a baseball player, a track athlete, as you considered like them to be athletes? Like, would you consider them in that same field?
That's kind of hard because they do the similar things that other people do, like basketball, football, all that stuff. I know some people in band, and two of my brothers are in band, and from what I can tell from them, you do gotta have a lot of, how do I say this, like hand-eye coordination, which is something that athletes need. In a sense, they can be considered an athlete for the fact that they gotta stand in certain area, they gotta stand for so long. That I heard they do be working out because you gotta be able to step in certain ways, you gotta move in certain ways. To be I like, and some like besides band, some of them is actual athletes. Like you can play football with them, you can play basketball with them, they still the same. So like I feel like a lot of times those that are already just an athletic person in general are just, I wouldn't say better, but can handle certain things. So like for instance, just because somebody plays football doesn't mean that they're not nice at basketball. I mean, I know some people who strictly will play just football, but you go to a court, play basketball, they work in the court. So I mean, yeah, in a sense, band members can be considered athletes at a certain degree for the simple fact that, you gotta do all that certain movements, you got the certain times you got to be there, you got the certain calls that you have to do, but then it's kind of it's kind of hard to say because there's still certain things that they don't do as full athletes do. So I mean, I understand the whole getting up, and Andre, I see you with the Marching Storm stuff, so I'm assuming you in the band, so you could already say stuff, but I'm just saying, like, y'all, they athletes to an extent. I'll say that. Not the full version of it, but to a certain extent, yeah.
Okay. At Andre, being a member of the Marching Storm, I think I already know your opinion, but I'm gonna go to you anyways.
Do I think band members should be considered an athlete? Well, for one, regardless of whatever anybody considers, we still get that athletic credit when we take the class. So that's neither here nor there. But one thing I would say is no sport is monolithic. Football ain't like basketball. Basketball ain't like track and field. Track and field ain't like hockey. It ain't like baseball. So for somebody to say one thing versus another isn't on the same level, well, nobody's on the same level because everybody don't do the same thing. Now, in terms of band, I'm assuming you talked about marching band, and since we had PV, we're gonna talk about here for a little back knowledge. Yeah, Marching Storm here, play sousaphone. Not doing it this year so far because Corona, but I think when people say that band members aren't athletes, I think it's because they don't understand what they go through or what they do, or they think that it's just about sitting there and playing the instrument. First of all, say even if you go into a football game and you talk about a whole marching show, these people are constantly moving fast, high knees, 90s for let's say around 7 to 8 minutes, constantly, no stopping. Most other sports and stuff like that, you do a play, you stop, you reset, you keep going. That's not band. You got to keep going. There is no stopping. People don't realize that that's a sport. That's stamina. You gotta work on that. People don't understand that people in the band, especially when it comes to summer band, 7 days a week, they are up before the sun comes up, and they don't go home till way after the sun comes down. And the first thing that they doing is out there working out, running laps, going around parking lots and stuff like that, doing push-ups, doing crunches and stuff like that on concrete, on grass, mind you, before anybody's up going, getting breakfast and stuff like that. While y'all are asleep, mind you. On top of that, band, if we want to talk about sports, y'all have usually a season at a certain time. Band, that's all year round. There is no break and stuff like that. So I think when people think about that question, they think that band is so easy and it's not as strenuous and stuff like that. But when you realize, and I only told a fraction, mind you. So when you realize what they actually go through and how much stuff that they have to do and be athletically built in and of itself, I know it may not look like that. You realize that even compared to some major traditional sports and stuff like that, they work way harder and do way harder than those sports. And then on top of that, like I said earlier, what is your definition of a sport? People like to think of the tradition, football, basketball, soccer, stuff like that. But then people look at stuff like, say, maybe cheerleading, band, and stuff like that, and think those aren't sports when those are equally. You have to, be athletic for that. So, do I think they should be considered athletes? Yes, because you just can't be a random person out here thinking you could go do marching and playing at the same time and expect it to work. You can't work. You got to work for it, and you got to work your body for it.
Got you. Okay, so this is my take on it. So I've said to you before, Andre, I was in the band in high school, which is definitely not anything to say. You definitely can't compare it to what the Marching Storm does. You just can't compare it to that. But I do have some experience there, and I'm an actual athlete, and I'm not necessarily discrediting any and everything that you said, but I think that sometimes when I look at that statement, when band members, people say that band members are athletes, I think it's kind of sort of like whenever I look at that statement, it's kind of like it is a thing of pride with me, because I think that when you look at that, it's not as if I don't want to say that band members are athletes. I think it's more so that I would consider them in and honestly in their own separate little category. You said that they're always moving like whenever it's for halftime. I mean with the core style that Marching Storm have, it's not necessarily saying that y'all play nonstop, because if y'all are playing nonstop, because you'll have to sometime take some breaks, because if y'all play and y'all don't stop at some times, like I'll just say this. So whenever you're out there for halftime, there aren't any moments in time where you are not taking like any sort of like there are measures where you break, like there aren't like pieces like in a song where you take like 8 measures of rest or anything like that. You're just constantly playing, because that's what I want to know.
Well, so we play 99% of the music anyway, so we really don't have no breaks at all, period.
99% of the music. Well, okay, yeah. So I'll just say this from my experience as a person that was in the band and who actually.
Yeah, you said you did what? You said you did, because I'm assuming you did core style.
I did core style. So
high school.
No, so what I said that I did was I did military marching band. So with that, you didn't stop, and you basically kept them moving. Yes.
I did that in high school as well.
Yeah. So, well, I think that it might have been like I would have to see your actual school and like what y'all's style was. But my thing with that is that I was a trumpet player, and even in the military marching band, there were parts and times in a piece that we were playing, because we would, our whole routine would be, between 6 and 8 minutes. And there would be points and times where we would stop sometimes for rest and to recover, because you can't necessarily, and I would actually have to go to, a halftime to see this, because I honestly don't know necessarily if you as a brass player, I'm saying this as a brass player, as a former brass player to a current brass player, you're saying that within an 8-measure piece, with an 8-measure routine, that you don't stop at all, that you keep on going, there are no rests within it at all, you don't have any points where you're not playing at all.
I didn't say it's not. I said the majority. First of all, because I know we got to finish. First of all, again, when I was in high school, I did core style / military style, and I did play trumpet as well. Trumpet was my first instrument. My second is UFO. Now I play tuba. So for when I say trumpets don't even play majority of the music. They're the little fluff, the beautiful stuff like that. So no, they're not going to be playing it like that. And then again, core style / military style is way different from show style that we do here. It's not as taxing as it is on show style. It's way more. Yes, it's more nonstop, but it's way more relaxed. There's way more energy and effort that you have to put in to show style, because it's not just about the music. It's about how an actual show, like how stuff's like, there's more energy. Core style isn't like that. So I would just say, just to close it out, because again, we do got to go. You don't know because even you said trumpet, you're not doing show style. Of course, you gonna say that you don't know what people go through, what it goes through to be in a show style band, and how athletic they actually are. So until you've been through it and went through that, and until you could actually say that you could go through it, because a lot of people say they probably can, and they can. It's not easy. A lot of people fall, and a lot of people don't make it. So until you've been through it, and then you think that, oh, it's just this, that, and third, easy peasy, then okay, you could say they're not athletes. But until you do that,
listen, I'm a person that doesn't necessarily talk a lot, but I say that I say that I probably could do that, and I'll just leave it there. I'm saying that I probably could do that because I am a cross country runner. I'm a person that has very high stamina. I don't stop going. I keep at it. So I'm just saying, as a cross country runner, it's kind of like, if you say that it has to do with stamina and whatnot, that I couldn't do that, but that's it. Honestly, yeah, we're running out of time. So to everyone that was watching, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week at the same time, 3:30 Thursday, for 4th and Goal. And you can also be sure to check us out 3:30 for Happenings on the Hill, where we talk about everything that's going on at PV for 4th and Goal, and for PVAMU-TV. I'm Worthington Moore. This was Drew, and this was Andre, and we'll see you next week.